So the first problem we have under the half angles is to find sine of 13 pi over 12. And it says find the exact value. So we have to leave it as radicals, roots, fractions, whatnot, but no rounding. And you won't have a calculator, so it won't matter. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find where 13 pi over 12 is. Well, this is pi, and 13 pi over 12 is just past that. It's just a little bit more than a pi. So 13 pi over 12 is in quadrant 3. I'm going to need to know that in a second. So the formula in your formula sheet says sine squared of theta equals 1/2 parentheses 1 minus cosine of 2 theta. To solve for sine, I'm going to take a square root and get sine of theta equals plus or minus. Remember, when you put a root in the paper, you have to put a plus or minus 1/2 1 minus cosine of 2 theta. So I have sine of 13 pi over 12 equals, I'm going to deal with the plus and minus in a second, 1/2 1 minus cosine of 2 times 13 pi over 12. In front of this root, or this radical, I'm going to put a negative sign. So if you'll look, my 13 pi over 12 is in red, and my minus sign's in red, and that's because over here in red, where I drew the quadrants, 13 pi over 12 is in the third quadrant, so sine of 13 pi over 12 is going to be a negative. So the angle with the trig function you're trying to find controls that plus or minus on the other side. So this equals negative 1/2 1 minus, and let's do a little bit of math right here, of this, 2 over 1 times 13 pi over 12 equals 26 pi over 12. This reduces to 13 pi over 6. 6 goes into 13 2 times. So this is the same thing as 2 pi's and another pi over 6 more. Well, 2 pi just means I spun around the circle for fun, and then I went to pi over 6. So I could write 13 pi over 6 in place of this 2 times 13 pi over 12, but that is coterminal. It is the same place as pi over 6. So this is really saying cosine of pi over 6. And cosine of pi over 6 is root 3 over 2. So now I have equals negative 1/2, and then I'm going to change the 1 to a 2 over 2, minus root 3 over 2. So that gets me a negative root 1/2, 2 minus root 3 all over 2. Distribute the 1/2 in, so negative root 2 minus root 3 over 4. And then we can square the top and the bottom of the fraction separately. So I get negative square root of 2 minus root 3. Square root of 4 is 2. So that is my answer. The next one says that I have cosine of 2 theta equals 8 over 17, and that 0 is less than 2 theta is less than 90 degrees. And so I want to find tangent of theta. So the first thing I want to do is I want to divide everything here by a 2. So that gets me 0 degrees is less than theta is less than 45 degrees. And so from this statement, I know that theta is in quadrant 1. But what I care more about, 2 theta is in quadrant 1. But what I care more about is that theta is in quadrant 1 as well. So the reason I care about that is the following. If I want to find tangent of theta, I need to write down this formula first. Tangent squared theta equals 1 minus cosine of 2 theta over 1 plus cosine of 2 theta. To get rid of that root, I have to square root both sides. So to get rid of the square, I have to square root both sides. And when you square root, it's a plus or minus in front. So here's what's going to happen. If I want to find tangent of theta, we know from the red over here that theta is in the first quadrant, and I know that in the first quadrant, tangent is positive. That's why I did this right here. I'm putting the star. I have to know what quadrant the angle's in, so I know whether to use the plus or minus sign when I hit the root. So I have a positive version, and it's going to be 1 minus. They tell me what cosine of 2 theta is. It's 8 over 17 over 1 plus 8 over 17. So now I'm just going to do some fraction work. So I have square root. That 8 I'm going to call 17 over 17 minus 8 over 17 all over 17 over 17 plus 8 over 17. So on the top, 17 minus 8 is 9 over 17 over 17 plus 8 is 25 over 17. And then 9 over 17, because I'm going to keep change flip, times 17 over 25. The 17s cancel off. I'm left with the square root of 9 over 25, which is 3/5. So in this problem, I want to find the exact value of cosine of 5 pi over 8. This is pi over 2. 5 pi over 8 is just past the half. So theta, which is 5 pi over 8, is in quadrant 2. I have cosine squared theta equals 1/2 1 plus cosine of 2 theta. Cosine of theta, I'm going to square root, equals big square root 1/2 1 plus cosine of 2 theta. And when I square root, I have to do a plus or minus. So if I do cosine of 5 pi over 8, that's in the second quadrant, cosine is negative in the second quadrant, so your root needs the negative version in the front. 1 plus cosine of 2 times 5 pi over 8. We'll take care of this for a second. 2 times 5 pi over 8 is 10 pi over 8, which when you reduce is 5 pi over 4. So I equals negative root 1/2. 1 plus cosine of 5 pi over 4 is negative root 2 over 2. So now I have equals negative root 1/2. I'm going to change the 1 to a 2 over 2 minus root 2 over 2, negative root 1/2. Combine the fractions and get 2 minus root 2 all over 2. Multiply that 1/2 in, so I get 2 minus root 2 on top all over 4. And then I can square at the bottom and the top separately. So my final answer is negative square root of 2 minus root 2 on top all over 2. Because the square root of 4 on the bottom is 2.